Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be going over Alien Nation, A Breed Apart from Malibu Comics. I thought it was an Eternity book, which that's one and the same anyway because they all merge together and they're all part of the same big corporation, I guess, of publications. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own work. This is Death Knights. You can check this out at alexanderturbin.com, or you can get my book, Random Access, at patreon.com/alexanderturbin. This is a reprint of Random Access number 6 and number 9, and you can either get this by itself for $2.99 at alexanderturbin.com, or you can check out the a lance that can come with it, where you get the lance in the comic book for $5, or you can get this fancy schmancy figurine that I made of the Death Knight, and you can get this uncolored and the book and the lance for $35, or you can get it colored for $50. It's a little bit more of a pain in the butt to paint. So let's get into Alien Nation, now that I'm done shamelessly plugging myself. So I really enjoyed the TV show when I was a wee lad. I think it was on Fox at the time. The new Fox show that had some of the coolest shows on it, Married with Children and Buffy and all that stuff. But so I really enjoyed it. I watched it pretty much every time that it was on. I can't remember what day it was on. Usually I can remember what day shows were on, which is very peculiar, I think. But maybe not, because when your childhood is filled with TV, then you get to know it pretty well. I mean, I knew the TV guide by heart. I knew every night exactly what was going to be on and when. But we only had 3 channels too. We didn't have 1,000 channels like we do now. But anyway, I really loved Alien Nation, and it was a little bit different. And like everybody knows, I'm a real huge fan of the X-Men. And one of the big things about the X-Men is an exploration of racism and bigotry and stuff like that. And that's what a huge thing about Alien Nation is. It is about a hot topic as of late, but really the topic has always been a very big topic and a very controversial one. And that I'm talking about aliens, illegal aliens from other countries in that case. But this is Alien Nation, they are illegal aliens from another planet, and they crash in the desert, and 290,000 of them, I think it says. And so where are they going to go? They just get integrated into the United States for pretty much. But aliens, as far as from other countries, that's always been a hot topic for everybody in the United States. Every country has that same problem with immigration and illegal aliens and stuff like that. We just have it quite a bit because we have it so good here, and our neighbors to the south in particular have it so poorly, so they want to better their lives. And everybody in America is immigrants, and I guess a lot of people say that it's not the question isn't immigration, it's the question of illegal immigration. But I find that hard to believe when it all along. The same people have been talking about immigration, whether it's illegal or legal immigration, and how they don't like it. In the beginning of Gangs of New York, it's all about the big fight in the beginning is all because the natives, which are the Americans, are pestering the immigrants from other countries. When back then, they were only, 1 or 2 generations away from being Americans themselves, being born Americans or whatever, whereas you're like 4, 5, 6 generations away now. My grandmother actually came from Sweden. She was Swedish herself, and she married a Russian, but he was a second generation Russian. He was actually born in America. So it's a hot topic. and it's what alienation really deals about in great length, and it's in your face kind of thing because it's not subtle at all, and I like that because if you're going to take on a hot topic like that, you might as well throw it in your face, and get it over with. That way, you know where you're at and you know what's coming up. So the beginning of the book. I'm going to, as I always, I'm going to read through the comic book a little bit, and I'm actually not going to read it, but I'm just going to give you an overview of the story and everything like that, and then I'll go backtrack and look at the writing and the art and really give my views on reviewing process. And so it starts out with the prologue, and the prologue is it's almost a conspiracy theorist magazine, only it's not conspiracy theory because it's real. It shows pretty much exactly how the aliens were landed. They landed in the Mojave Desert, and there were 260,000 of them in the ship, that is a huge ship. That is ginormous. And it crashed, and they were really slave workers. I think later on the overlords or whatever of the slave aliens come to the show. I'm going to have to watch the show. I was actually going to review something else because I was thinking about this and how I really would like to watch a few of the episodes before I review the comic. But I couldn't find it anywhere to stream. It's on Prime to rent or buy or whatever, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to do this, and hopefully it comes on Tubi because Tubi is where great 80s and 90s and 70s shows go to die, apparently, and that's awesome. I love Tubi, and Tubi is probably my favorite streaming platform because of that. It has all of these fantastic 80s and 90s movies and TV shows that I just love. So it goes through, and it talks about the aliens and how they're genetically engineered, and it gives them their background and stuff. And then it goes on to show them how they were treated in the kind of concentration camps or internment camps that uh, that are around. I don't know. It's in California, I think, because they're later released in Los Angeles. It's funny to realize that this and something nine, something nine. It's that South African film creator and the actors and stuff where the aliens have a ship over South Africa, and basically they do the same thing where they're like built in their given land, and they're like they live in the slums and stuff. It's although their alienishness is a little bit more alien. Like these guys, they learn English, they adapt fairly quickly, they do everything that humans do and stuff. Whereas the aliens, they in Project Nine, is it Project Nine? I think is what it's called. Something Nine, I think. And anyway, they are completely alien. But that is a fantastic movie. It is a super movie. Project Nine, I think it's Project Nine. If it's not, somebody in the comments correct me, please. But anyway, this 260,000 people are released into Los Angeles, and where they just are trying to find work. And can you imagine, a lot of this illegal alien talk is about illegal aliens taking American jobs. Can you imagine having 260,000 people dumped in your backyard, and they want to find a place to work or whatever? I think that the government would have maybe broken them up and put maybe 50,000 in one city, or even broken it up 10,000 in one city, 10,000 in another city. I think they would have done a little bit better job of integrating them into the United States. But this is a pretty bleak look on things that happen, and it totally could happen because the government is a lot of screw ups a lot of times. They do a lot of great things, the government, and I think a lot of people disregard the really good things that the U.S. government has done because there are so many things that the government has screwed up. but they just throw them into Los Angeles. But then it goes on to kind of talk about how some of them they didn't just fall into squalor, into being poor or homeless or whatever. They rose up, and some of them became like great actors, and they went to Broadway, and some of them became like superstars, and some of them just became super rich, some became politicians. So they integrated into humanity in pretty much every facet that there is. And that's the thing about illegal aliens. I'm not going to turn this into like a rant or anything about illegal aliens or anything, but just the fact that people are leaving their homes, and going hundreds and hundreds of miles to somewhere else that they don't know anybody and they have no idea about the life that they're going to get there is it's got to be super horrible at that place that they're at. I can't imagine what it would take for me to do that. What would it take for me to move to Canada? It would have to be truly truly horrible, or even worse than Canada. What would it take for me to travel hundreds of miles by foot, and maybe even sometimes leaving my family or whatever? It would have to be something truly horrible, and that's just kind of one of the things that I think about illegal aliens. But so they integrate into the United States, and one of them even becomes a police officer, and that's when it kind of narrows down to where our story takes place. And they've done a great job of world building. They've shown a place, they've shown a time, they've shown the type of world everything is in. They've shown the chaos that's going on. So it really starts out this little magazine or whatever, or I don't know what you would call it, some kind of fanzine or something. It really does a great job of introducing the world and everything. A lot of times I complain about could be the reader's first comic book. It could be the first comic book of this series. This is a number one, so it has a little bit of an advantage because it does begin all this stuff. I'm wondering in issue number 2 if they have something similar. And yes, I will be looking for issue number 2, 3, and 4 because I want to collect the whole series, because there's a lot of the stuff that I really enjoy about this. But so it goes to some sort of interlude. Like it's not a big scene about the book. It's just, I think it's kind of doing a little bit of more world building. It's got this huge overall world building in the magazine, and then it kind of zooms into like a McDonald's or whatever. It's almost like if there was a satellite and it was showing you the Earth, and then it showed you all of this stuff going on, and then it zoomed into this thing, kind of like they do in Contact. I think it's either in the beginning where they zoom out from Earth to the planets, to the galaxies, to the solar system, to everything, and then they shoot back in, and I think it's their eye. But anyway, it's these two guys, and they're at a McDonald's or something like that, and one of them is talking about the slags, which is some sort of derogatory comment towards the aliens. And one of the workers gives them their hamburger. I guess they had made a mistake or whatever, and he's sorry. And so this is really fantastic. He gives them the burger. They're talking about this character is saying how one of the aliens is a millionaire, and he's just jealous, and it's not fair, and all this stuff. Like, why is he deserve to get all of this stuff that I'm not getting? And then he hands him the hamburger, and there was some sort of issue, and the worker blames the alien guy. We don't know if the alien really did anything wrong or not. It's just a symbol of the feeling that the humans have towards the aliens, and it's really kind of a powerful thing. More advertisements for all of the Malibu / Eternity stuff going on. And then it goes to the crux of the show. The crux of the show is that one of the aliens became a police officer, and him dealing with the bigotry, and also trying to fit into this new human world and stuff. So there's a LAPD dispatcher, and she clicks on the dispatch, and on the other line is a guy who his family, his home has been infiltrated by a couple of alien gangsters or whatever, or they think they're gangsters. They seem like gangsters, and they shot shot one of them. I don't know who they shot. Oh, they shot his wife, although that doesn't look like his wife. That looks more like it's him. Um, but says one of the aliens shot his wife. And then it shows some of the aliens and they've got guns. And this is some sort of home invasion. So the LAPD dispatcher calls to some police officers. Police officers show up. And then it kind of goes to another scene where it's two detectives. And the detectives, it like almost zooms in, zeroes in on where the real protagonist of the story is, which is the alien and police officer and his cop. But they're detectives. They're not just regular police officers. It would be cool to have a prequel of this being when he became a regular police officer, going through the training, police officer academy, police academy stuff. It could be like the police academy franchise, only have the aliens in it, which would be very funny actually, with all of the nudity and disgusting stuff that's going on. So it zooms into the one of the police officers, one of the detectives, and he's in the car and he's fiddling with his gun, and he's talking to the dispatcher, and he's got their assignment or whatever. The alien is actually in a convenience store, 7-Eleven or whatever you have near you, Red Market, Red Mart, whatever, K something. Anyway, he's looking at magazines and he's disgusted by some of the magazines and the books and stuff that are there, because it's so alien, has so much alien bigotry and stuff. And so he gets a call on his walkie-talkie from his partner that's in the parking lot waiting for him to get his goodies, their beer and their soda and their chips or whatever for the night. I'm not sure why. Oh, never mind. It doesn't. It goes to where the house of where the person is hiding from the two aliens that have infiltrated his home and shot his wife. And they're just kind of, the police officers are there first, the regular cops. The two detectives aren't there yet. And they do finally show up, but the police officers I guess they don't have their lights on because they're trying to sneak in and sneak to the house and catch the burglars slash home invaders by off guard or whatever. So they're radioing in to dispatch, trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do, and they're kind of sneaking into the house. The home invaders are at the same time going up the stairs, and they're looking for whoever it is that is in the house. I think this goes into a larger picture. I don't think they're just home invaders looking for some sort of watches or TVs or computers or whatever. I think they're actually looking for the guy that called in for the dispatch. I think there's some sort of interconnection between them, but I won't know that until issue 2, because it doesn't really say that. So the alien and his partner decide to go in, and they find the wife who's been shot. And what she say? All units at 1958 Nineveh, be advised that informant is armed. So the informant, the guy that's hiding in his house, has a gun, and he's apparently in the bathroom or something like that. Here's a little picture poster of the Alienation by the artist, and I did not say who the artists or the writers were, which I'm going to correct that now. The writer is Steve Jones, and the penciler is Stan Timmons, inker is Jimmy Palmiotti, letterer is Mike Worley, and the cover painting by Jeff Starling, which I really dig this cover painting. I really love that. And the publisher is Dave Albright. So that's a nice little poster or picture to just kind of break up the the story, I guess. Which sometimes, I don't know, does something like this or an advertisement when you're reading a comic, does that bother your reading experience? Does that like when you were reading Marvel comics and you came upon a cupcake advertisement, were you or are you bothered by that? And um, does it um, divert your attention enough so that it changes the reading experience? I'd really like to know that, what you guys think about advertisements in the middle of comics. Everybody knows that they're on the outside, the back cover or inside cover or whatever. But I'd really, so please let me know, anybody that's watches this, please let me know if the advertisements really bother you at all. When you're reading a comic book, it doesn't for me. I think I just have grown accustomed to. I don't even think I look at them unless it's like like I said, a Hostess cupcake advertisement back from the 70s or whatever. I'm not going to look at it if it's some sort of video game or anything like that. Then I'm just going to completely go over it. So really, the advertisements in comic books are kind of a waste of time. Now that I think about it, I mean, our advertisements, do they work? I would say they do, because our whole society is based on advertising pretty much. But in advertisements in comic books in particular, do you think they work? I don't think they do, but I've never actually bought anything other than another comic book. So maybe another comic book advertisement, but sneakers, I'm never going to buy or never have bought sneakers because of an advertisement in a comic book. But anyway, get back to the comic. The police are kind of, it must be a big house. The police are spreading out, and they're finding some of the aliens. One of the aliens actually shoots his partner, the alien's partner, and the alien's like, hey, let's, are you okay? And the cop is just like, dispatch officers down, code 9, we're under fire. Come here, you damn loser. And then, no, I guess that's not the, that is the alien partner, and this is the human partner. And he gets the taser, he finds his taser, and he tases, one of the bad aliens. So he goes down. The alien that's helping him, the alien cop, the regular cop says, get him. He doesn't want any kind of help. He just wants his partner to go apprehend the alien or shoot him or whatever. But I guess he hops out the window and he takes off. And this is one of the only confusing things about this comic book, and I really, truly do not understand it. So the alien is running, and I'm going to slow it down to really show you what's going on and actually read what's going on, because maybe I didn't read it correctly. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me out with this. In no way, shape, or form does it talk about any of the other police officers that are at the house. It doesn't show their names. It doesn't show what they are. And then all of a sudden, this alien who's jumped out of the house, and then somebody says, "Drop it now." Then the alien pulls his gun and says, "Go away," starts firing, and then he goes click, click, click. So he's out of bullets, and then out of nowhere, it's not even this police officer. I think this is an alien police officer. I think from behind, she says, "You're out of bullets," and then she says, "Now you must face unarmed the awesome, terrifying power of Conan, the Barbie Barbarian, you dirtbag." So out of nowhere, this female cop just attacks the alien, and kicks his ass, which is, that's fine. But she's got no police officer's hat on. She's just this character, and she's like throwing out these diatribe stuff about being a barbarian woman or whatever. And then so he whooshes, I don't know, he must get up and throw something at her or something like that. And then she gets attacked, and she kicks him. He must have had something. He must have had some sort of club or something like that. It doesn't show that he has it or anything. He must have had some sort of club, but he throws it at her. She grabs it, and she bashes him in the face with it. And then apparently the other police officer, the alien police officer, female alien police officer that has nothing to do with the two real police officers that the story is about, says, "God damn it, Abby, you're going to get one of us killed someday with a dumb stunt like that." So it doesn't really make any kind of sense. And then it goes back into the house, and uh, the police officer is with the shot wound, the wounded shoulder is being taken care of by his partner, and the other police officers are kind of going through the house looking for whoever the invaders are, and actually they know that they're gone. And but the guy in the bathroom still has a gun. Dispatch actually contacts him and says the that he's safe and that the infiltration has been taken care of, but he doesn't care. He just starts blasting through the door, and eventually he's like, "Oh, I didn't know." She eventually calms him down and lets him know that he's safe and everything's okay. And she says, "Mr. Wanderbeer, put down the rifle now." And so you're still after me. So this makes sense. He sees the alien police officer. He thinks that all of these aliens look the same and are the same. So instead of backing off and trying to figure out what's going on, because he's in fear of his life, he shoots at the alien police officer. He goes flying. He runs away. But actually, the human police officer gets hit in the leg. I don't know if he pushes the alien away so he doesn't get shot or whatever. But then they both blast the owner of the home, and he dies. So that's how it ends. It's a very bleak ending. It's a very sad ending, and it's all about confusion and bigotry down to your core. All of the aliens look the same. So it's a lot like that. So I'm going to go into the writing. The writer is Steve Jones. Like I said, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the setup. I enjoyed the plot. Some of the things didn't make sense. The only real thing that didn't make sense, like I love the way the time moves in the comic book, and that is 100% because of the writer. He sets up the scenes perfectly so that they blend into each other, but not in a way that's confusing at all. This wasn't a confusing comic except for this 2 pages where it has Barbarian Anne. That is just I have no idea what's going on with that. If anybody has the other issues, the rest of the issues, please let me know, because do they become more relevant in the future issues, or is it just a one-off kind of a funny gag thing? I just don't know. It's totally comes out of left field. Doesn't make any kind of sense. But other than that, I really enjoy the dialogue. I love the dialogue a lot. All of the characters have, there's so much, they're humanized. Even the aliens are humanized. And plot-wise, it really goes smoothly. Not a whole lot goes on, but this is the first issue, and you've got a lot of setup to do. You've got a lot of introduction of characters, which they do fantastically. They don't over-inundate you with all of these different characters, and they all have a little bit of a different look, or actually they have they kind of look alike. But the writing gives them different personalities, and even though you haven't really gotten to know the main characters yet, you kind of through the world building, it lets you know exactly what's going on. As far as the art by Stan Timmons, I am really truly torn. I like a lot of the stuff. This duo shade is really kind of cool. He uses it quite a bit. However, some of these, it almost reminds me of a Tony Lorenz. It reminds me a little bit of how Tony does his stuff. Maybe he's a big George Perez fan and is influenced by George Perez a lot, like Tony is. But some of these panels, the layouts, they're perfectly fine, and they've got some nice gray tones. He uses the duo shade really nicely. Everything, and narrative art wise, it's perfectly good. Everything moves smoothly, and if there's any confusion, it's not because of the artist at all. It's because of the writer. But even then, I'm going to let that slide. Some of it though is a little wacky. It's a little disjointed. When you have a scene like that where nobody really does an upper face face looking up done really correctly, or there's very few artists that truly do it. I almost always try to avoid that, but sometimes you just have to do it. But just some of this stuff is a little bit wonky, and not as exciting as I think it could be. But then he tries to add a lot of this stuff is like talking heads and just characters in the background, really not doing a lot of exciting stuff. What he could have done, he could have had a little bit more close-ups. He could have added a little bit more three-dimensionality to it and given it a little bit more dynamic way of looking. Like he could have made this neighborhood just a little bit more dynamic. Same thing with the police officer vehicles and stuff. He could have made that three-dimensional, given it a 2 or 3 point perspective instead of just having it kind of a flat thing. It's very flat, even though there is a little bit of dimensionality in it. The inking looks really good. The black spotting is very efficient, and you can tell by the lighting where everything is and stuff like that. The only other thing that I really have a kind of a comment about his art, which I don't really dislike it. It's just kind of like I would never go looking for his art. It looks a little bit stuffy for me, where stuffy is kind of not as dynamic as I think it could have been. But some of the stuff here is very open space. He has a lot of open space. Some of the stuff, like these pages, not so much. But then some of these pages, the space is just open, and he could have used just a little bit more dimensionality. I think that is the key phrase for this artist, is that he doesn't have the 3 dimensions that I really kind of wish he had. And some of the, excuse me, some of the panels, I just kind of wish it looked a little differently. I wish this had been, I don't know, maybe closer or something like that, maybe shown, like it shows her head and it's got these action lines or whatever. It actually should have been a close-up of her showing her expressions and her emotions and stuff, and then maybe have this. So these panels could have been switched over. All of this negative space, like I like a lot or a good amount of negative space in my comics. I point to Frank Miller as probably one of the greatest positive negative space users in comic books. I know that some people, some artists, or some fans of comics, they enjoy a full page, a full panel where everything has a lot of texture and a lot of intricate line work and a lot of it's funny. I've known that, or I've heard that some people say that they should really fill up the page, really fill up the panel, and that's really what is important to them when they look at comic book art. Whereas I've talked to friends who are like, it's the black spotting, it's the shadows and the shading, and that's what's really important to them in their artwork and also in the art that they enjoy. So it's really it really shows what personal opinion has for everybody and what really is important to each individual either artist or reader. This could have been a lot more dynamic. So just some of these panels, even if one of the panels was a little bit bigger and a little bit more dynamic, and then so some of the background panels, even though they're in the background and they're conveying a lot of the story, even though they're in the background, they're still important to the story because you've got that one big panel that kind of explains everything. Also, another thing, maybe some of the my problem is with the inker, and maybe there's a little bit more three-dimensionality, and that often happens where a penciler has all of these different things and the inker just translates it in a different way and maybe flattens it out a little bit, which is unfortunate. But you look at this is the same guy that does the interiors of the book. Yes, there's a lot of blank page, blank open space, a lot of negative space. There's not a lot of backgrounds or anything like that. But you look at the faces, and they're completely different. So whoever inked this Doug Hazelwood is not the inker of the book inside, but he inked this, and it's completely different. It almost looks like a a Brian Boland kind of thing. Um, so with the hatching and the cross hatching and stuff, and the way the eyes and are and stuff, I do love his poses in this in particular. So it's fascinating to see how an inker can change the penciler's work or not. So anyway, Alienation: A Breed Apart, by Malibu Comics and Steve Jones and Stan Timmons and Jimmy Palmiotti. I'm going to give this, baseline is usually, as you guys know, it's a 7. If it makes me want to buy more comics, more of the same comics, then it goes higher. If it's confusing, then it goes way lower. So it was a tiny bit confusing towards the end, but only a couple pages. And but I do want to buy more issues. And I did enjoy the story. I did enjoy the writing, and for the most part, the art was capable. I didn't love it. That's the thing, but it's capable. The narrative art is quality, and that is probably the biggest, most important thing for me. The narrative art. You're here to tell a story. You're not here to show off one of your pages of a cool character. You're here to tell the story. The story is Alienation, and he does it very well. So I'm going to give this an 8. It's good quality, but some of the detraction things, the confusion, and the some of the lack of three-dimensionality, in my opinion, kind of knocks it down from being anything higher than that. But I did enjoy it. I did like it. I'm gonna get more. And let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like Alienation TV show? Did you get any of these comics? Let me know what you think, because I love hearing from you guys. And if you're new to the channel, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I go over. I go over black and white indies from the 80s and 90s, 2000s, but I also do all kinds of other crazy stuff. So I've got like 150 other videos. I'm sure that I've gone through a lot of books that you may have either heard about or read or whatever. But if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and all of that cool stuff. And also, leave a comment. I love hearing from you guys. I love talking about comic books. As you can hear my voice, I'm losing my voice a little bit because I just love to talk about comic books so much. Let me know what you guys think about this comic book and the TV show and stuff like that. And would you want to see more adaptations for me to review? That's another thing. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a couple days on Friday, and we'll be going over something else cool. And but until then, have a great week, and I'll see you later, and keep on creating.